You find a product in your products and then you click on it. There is an edit button by the share button. When you click on the edit button, it gives you the option to change things like the name, the barcode, the price, the ingredients, and then whatever we have. So in this case, we just want to change the image. So we click on image and say select image. You can select for your gallery or use a camera. So let's say I'm using my camera over here. Let me just open my camera. So I'll select and then use my camera. And then let me take a square image to actually like make sure this is responsive. And then let's say this is my mango juice. I capture it and then I attach this image. So it will give me a cropper to crop this image. After cropping the image, I will then upload the image. So the image will also upload in Venta Hub and it will also save locally. So now I just click OK and then I'm back. Now when I click on my mango, you notice that the image has changed as expected. So that is how we manage products in Venta Hub, and then that is how we go about it. Now the next option we'll talk about over here is we talk about stock count. And one thing you should notice is that stock count relies on the Venta Hub. And what stock count basically does is, when you first start operating the business, you need an opening balance to process so that you, the business owner, can know the value of your stock, and you can also prepare your data for auditors. So that is why we have this stock count option, but it's strictly linked to Venta Hub, and then I will show you in a detailed video how the stock count works. Now let's go to sales, because without sales we can't explore reports, we can't export orders. Now our setup is done and we are ready to make business. One way we can access the sales POS is to click on these three dots and then come to sales. Another way is to just click sales from the dashboard over here. And when you access your sales screen, because there's no shift started, you notice it gives us an information that says shift is currently closed. Open a shift to start making sales. Now when you click open shift, it will open a shift for you, and then this is your cart. There is something you should know that I will explain to you. This is your cart screen. At the top left over here, we have the exit button. When you click on exit, it actually takes you back from the billing. And when you click on billing again, it takes you there. Then we have a text at top. That is just a title that says Venta POS. And right to the top right is the bill number. That means this bill we are making currently is bill number 1. Now we have this whole space where you can see cart centered. Okay, this whole space, we have this whole space over here. And that is where we display the items in the cart so that you can see what items are in the cart, quantity, and then price. Now we have floating icons at the right center, and then the first one is triggering a search bar to add a product, and I want to explain to you why we have it. Now to add products in Venta POS billing screen, we have 3 ways. One way is to scan the barcode. Another way is to search for the product, and a third way is to actually filter the categories to find the products. So that's what I told you. If you're familiar with our desktop settings, we are translating the same to the mobile. All the functionalities, just making this mobile. So first is to search for a product. So assuming I want to add a product, let's say I click on the first search icon and then I put the product name. So let's say mango. So I see this is a mango fruit and vegetable and it's 16 cedis. I click on it and then it adds it to cart. So you can see at the top over here I have mango 116, and I can use this plus to increase the quantity. I can also reduce the quantity, and when it's one that you reduce the quantity, it lists it from the cart. Another way also is to click on the categories. It will list all the categories you have. You expand and then you look for the products you are looking for. So let's say I'm looking for metric box. I click on it and then it adds it to the cart. Okay. Another way also we can do this is to trigger the barcode scanner. And if you have a product barcode, when you scan, it adds it to the cart. So let's say this customer has added a metric box and then they want to pay cash. So before we cash a bill, let me just cancel this and explain the other part. Now, at the bottom of the icons is where we have the total amount. And the total amount over here shows how much the customer is paying for this bill. So you notice that when you add an item, the total actually adjusts to the sum of all the costs that you are going to pay for this bill. So over here it says it's 32 cedis, So the total amount displays it. And beneath the total amount, we have payment options. Currently, we have cash and cancel. When you click on cash, it processes the bill, generates an invoice, and then logs it as a cash transaction. When you click on cancel, it clears the whole cart. And that is how it works. And you notice also down here, we have a settings button. Now, when you click on these settings, it actually lets you define how you want to make your bills. That is to say, after making the sales, do you want to print the receipt? Do you want to send it to the customer on WhatsApp? Or you want a dialogue to decide? Now, if you choose a dialogue to decide, it will give you two options, and I'll show you how it works. Also, we have sync bills. When you click on sync bills over here, you notice that I informed you that whenever sales happen on a Venta POS, the owner also sees the sales on their dashboard at Venta Hub. Now, the owner can only see the bills if the data is synced from your mobile phone to the hub. Now, there might be instances whereby you want to run fully offline. You don't have internet access. The bills might not sync, but when you come back online, you would like to sync the bills. So when you click on sync bill, it will ask you, do you want to sync pending bills only? That is to say, if you make like 10 bills today, and 5 has been synced because you had internet connection, and you have 5 pending. So when you select like only pending bills, it will sync only the bills that are pending. Now when you do resync all today, it doesn't matter if the bill was pending or it was synced, it will sync them again. But here is a catch. Assuming you made bills worth 1000 cedis and you've synced 500 cedis. When you are syncing all the day, the system will send all the data to Venta Hub, but Venta Hub actually looks like the data that has been synced before and ignores them. So this won't duplicate your sales. Don't say, let's say maybe you sold 1000, you sync 500. So now if you sync the whole 1000, it will make it 1005 instead of 1000. No, Venta Hub has an intelligent system in between, a layer that actually decides if a bill has been synced or not. And if it's not synced, it will sync it. But if it has already been synced, that bill will be discarded. So that is how the syncing works. And we also have the end shift button that actually ends your sales. So right now that we have gone through all this, let's try and make a couple of sales and see how this works. So we come over here, and then I say someone wants to buy Ashguard. Count says, okay, add me another Ashguard. It will increase the number of the Ashguard in the bill. So let's say the person comes and says, okay, add me avocado. Now their bill is 77.9. Notice that our printing is default, right? So now let's cache it. You click on cache. You notice it gives you a bill that you can print. Also gives you an option to enter a WhatsApp number. Now any option you choose, when you enter WhatsApp number, it will send the bill to the customer. If you also click print and there's a printer connected, it will print the bill. So now we don't want to do any of this. Let's click close and let's switch between this. Let's go to auto print, and then you see how auto print works. So customer comes by this, you press punch, and you notice that it is trying to send the bill to a printer, and because there's no printer connected to this phone, it's sending it to the PDF printer, and then like it will help me print this bill as a PDF. Now let's go back and then choose WhatsApp and then add a product. So let's say we're adding this product, cash. It will ask for WhatsApp number. So let's say WhatsApp number is +233 54 631 0011. So this will open WhatsApp, and when it opens WhatsApp, it will open chat, and then you have to select the image and then send this. So it will send the bill to the customer, and the customer will see, thanks for shopping at Venta, please find your receipt attached, and then that is it. And then that aside, okay, next thing I want to talk about is various payment methods. Now, what if someone comes in and says, I'm paying with MoMo, I'm paying with cash? How do you log them? And this is where the settings comes in. So let's go back and then let's refresh this page. When you will refresh, you notice that so far we've made sales of 101.61, which is 100% compared to yesterday. And hourly trend, you can see sales for the last 5 days, you can see, and then payment methods, you notice that it's only cash we've done. So that is how the data is rendered. You can also pull down to refresh the data. Now, as I said earlier on, let's say customers want to pay with card and MoMo. So when you come to your settings over here, you notice we have payments. When you click on payments, you notice by default only cash is selected, right? So let's select MoMo, select card, and then go back to our billing screen.